wombats. Was it a small bear? Was it a large badger? Maybe a marmot? European sailors stranded on an island off the coast of Australia wondered what that plump, furry animal could be. Today, we call this animal a wombat.
This is a common wombat, the kind that the sailors saw. Its scientific name means bear-like. The common wombat lives in the forests and mountains of Southeast Australia.
Habits. Wombats are very shy animals. They usually rest in or near their burrows during the day and come out at night to eat.
Wombats eat coarse grasses, leaves, and roots. Their teeth, like the front teeth of rodents, grow throughout their lives. Chewing rough food grinds the teeth down, a good thing if a wombat wants to close its mouth.
The elusive wombat. Although wombats are mostly nocturnal, hikers sometimes catch them lying in the sun. If disturbed, these little animals can actually run briefly at a sprint of up to 24 miles per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. Burrows. Wombats dig complicated tunnels. They use their strong legs and sharp claws to dig quickly, and then they push the loosened soil away with their hind feet. Wombats live alone in their burrows, but other wombats may be in a tunnel close by.
Farmers consider wombats pests because they damage crops and fences. Cattle may break their legs by stepping in wombat burrows. The burrows provide shelter for rabbits that also damage crops. For these reasons, farmers are often eager to rid their farms of all wombats. Wombats rest in nests of grass or other plant material inside the burrow. They also dig a shallow hole near the entrance, often next to a tree or rock, where they rest or lie in the sun. The hairy-nosed wombat lives in dry, grassy regions of Australia. This kind of wombat uses its burrow to control its temperature. By staying in its burrow during the day, the wombat keeps cool and conserves water in the summer and stays warm in the winter. Young. Wombats usually give birth to one young at a time. Like other marsupial young, newborn wombats are tiny and not very well developed. They stay in their mother's pouch for about 6 months until they are strong enough to get around by themselves. Even after this time, a young wombat returns to the pouch to drink milk. A wombat's pouch is different from a kangaroo's pouch. The wombat's pouch opens toward the animal's hind legs instead of toward its front legs.
Moles and shrews. Moles are small mammals that live underground. How would you like to be a mole for a day? Can you imagine what your life would be like?
As a mole, your eyes are sensitive to light and dark, but can't focus images sharply. You don't really need to see well, though, because you spend most of your life underground. Your sense of smell is good, and you have sensitive whiskers that help you find your way in the dark. You use your curved front feet and long claws for digging tunnels where you find your favorite foods: insects, worms, and slugs. There are more than 20 kinds of moles. You can tell a star-nosed mole by the shape of its nose, shown here. The nose is very sensitive to touch and vibrations. It helps the mole find food in the dark.
Shrews. Like moles, shrews are suited to dark conditions. They look like mice, but are smaller, with a longer nose and tiny eyes.
Shrews are very nervous creatures, possibly because of their small size. The heart rate of the tiny Savi's pygmy shrew can increase to 1,200 beats per minute. That's 20 beats a second when the shrew is frightened. To keep up their energy, shrews have to eat almost constantly. They spend most of their time, day and night, searching for food. Some shrews eat several times their own weight in food each day.
Shrew families sometimes travel in caravans. With the mother as leader, each baby shrew uses its teeth to cling to the rump of the one in front of it. The babies won't let go even when the mother is picked up off the ground.
Molehills and shrew shelters. Most shrews live on the surface of the land. Most moles live almost entirely underground, digging new tunnels every day. Their twisting network of passages sometimes adds up to more than 800 feet, 245 meters.
Water shrews live in rivers and streams, where they hunt for fish and tadpoles. Most shrews, however, live in tiny burrows in the ground or among leaves, rocks, and tree roots. Shrews build a nest of moss, grass, and dry leaves during breeding season. During cold winters, they may find shelter in buildings and farmyards.
Moles have broad front paws with strong claws that work like shovels. Moles use their hind legs to throw dirt behind them as they dig. A molehill is made from the extra soil that the mole pushes out of the way. This breeding chamber is lined with grass and leaves. A female mole gives birth to about 4 young each spring.
Moles keep a chamber stocked with worms and other creatures that have been wounded, to keep them from escaping.
Moles are solitary creatures. They won't tolerate having other moles around, except briefly during breeding season. Moles patrol their tunnels constantly to keep other moles from hunting their food. As they patrol, moles leave their scent to mark their territory.
Insectivores. Shrews and moles belong to a large animal group called insectivores. Insect eaters. Hedgehogs, solenodons, and tenrecs also belong to this group. Insectivores are found all over the world except Australia, Antarctica, and most of South America. Tenrecs are found mostly on the island of Madagascar. Some are covered only in fur, but others have spines like hedgehogs. The streaked tenrec has a crust of spines at the back of its neck. These spines come out of the tenrec's skin easily, leaving an attacker with a very prickly mouthful.
Solenodons look like giant shrews. They live on the islands of Haiti and Cuba. Solenodons are active at night when they come out to hunt insects, worms, and snails. During the day, they spend their time resting in hollow logs, caves, and rocky shelters. There are only 2 species of solenodons, and both are in danger of extinction.
Grasshoppers and crickets. Have you ever heard an insect sing? Male grasshoppers and crickets sing, but not with their mouths. They make sounds by rubbing their wings and legs together. The sounds attract females and warn other males to stay away.
Cricket or grasshopper? Most people can't tell the difference between a cricket and a grasshopper. These 2 insects have a lot in common, but there are some differences. Most crickets have long antennae, sometimes longer than their bodies. Most grasshoppers have much shorter antennae.
Both the grasshopper and the cricket have 2 large eyes that help them see well. They also have 3 other eyes on their head. Scientists don't know what these eyes do. Some grasshoppers and crickets have 2 pairs of wings, a tough outer pair and a thin pair underneath. The thin wings, which are used in flying,
or folded under the outer pair when the insect is not in flight. Grasshoppers eat only plants. Crickets eat both plants and other insects. Both the cricket and grasshopper have 6 legs. Their long, powerful rear legs can lift them higher than 3 feet, 1 meter in one leap.
Female crickets and grasshoppers use their ovipositor or egg placer to lay their eggs underground or in plant stems. Defense. Crickets and grasshoppers have many ways to protect themselves. Most are colored like grass or dirt, which makes it hard for predators to find them. Their legs have spines that can wound when they kick. Some crickets and grasshoppers bite, and some spit a brown liquid called tobacco juice. Often they just jump away from a predator.
Destruction. Grasshoppers with short antennae are called locusts. These insects are well known for the damage they do. Locusts sometimes migrate in swarms of more than 50 billion. They eat up farm crops and other plants wherever they land.
Some people in the Middle East and Africa have found an interesting way to fight the insects. They eat them. Ants. Millions of ants, as many as 20,000 kinds, rush busily across the ground each day all over the world. They are most likely looking for food. Ant food. Ants eat a variety of things, including caterpillars, leaves, and fungi. You may have noticed that household ants eat just about any food they find.
Army ants. A few ants, including some kinds of army ants of South America, are always on the move. As the colony marches through the forest, the workers look for food. Usually they feed on insects and other small creatures, but sometimes they prey on animals as large as goats.
Leaf-cutting ants. Ants can lift objects that weigh more than they do. Leaf-cutting ants bite off pieces of leaves and carry them back to a huge underground nest. There, they chew the leaves and mix them with saliva to make compost. Fungi, the leaf-cutting ants' only food, grow on this compost. Ant bodies. The body of an ant is divided into 3 distinct parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Unlike young queens and male ants, workers have no wings. Ants have long legs that end in claws, which makes it easy for them to run fast and climb well. Some ants can sting. Others can squirt poison in self-defense. Both an ant's stinger and its poison gland are located on its abdomen. The middle part of an ant's body is called the thorax, or trunk. An ant has 3 pairs of legs, which connect to its body at the thorax.
Ant jaws may be specialized for feeding on certain foods. The jaws of some ants are strong enough to chew through wood and tough stems. Two antennae on the ant's head bend like elbow joints. Social insects. Ants are social insects that live in large groups called colonies. Within the colony there are several classes or castes of insects. Members of each caste have specific jobs. The male's only function is to mate with young queens. They do no work in the nest and die soon after mating.
Most members of ants and termite colonies are workers. Workers gather food and rear the young. They take care of the queen, feeding her and keeping her clean. Workers also repair the nest and make it larger to hold the growing colony. All worker ants are female. The largest of them defend the nest from attack. A female called the queen spends her life laying eggs. She grows much larger than the other ants. Some colonies have more than one queen. Starting a colony. Most ant eggs hatch into workers. Every year, though, one group of eggs matures into males and young queens that can reproduce. All members of this group have wings. They leave the nest in a swarm and mate in the air. The young queens will each begin a new colony.
After landing, a queen tears off her wings and crawls away to find a nesting place. Her useless wing muscles provide nourishment as they break down in her body. Sealed in her nest, the queen lays eggs that will hatch to become the first members of her colony.
Egg to adult. Ants and some other insects go through 4 stages of growth: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. This is called complete metamorphosis. Egg. The tiny white or yellowish eggs hatch and develop into larvae only a few days after the queen lays them.
Larva. The worm-like larvae are moved by the workers to nursery chambers in the nest. The queen feeds them with her saliva. The larval stage lasts a few weeks for some kinds of ants and several months for others. Pupa. In some kinds of ants, the pupa is encased in a cocoon, spun at the end of the larval stage. In other kinds, the pupa is covered only by a transparent skin. Pupae do not eat.
Adult. Full-sized adult ants emerge after about 3 weeks in the pupal stage.
Armadillos and pangolins. The name armadillo is a Spanish word that means little armored one. The armadillo has a natural suit of armor, bony plates that cover its back, head, and tail.
An armadillo's armor is made of horn and bone. The plates grow out of the skin in overlapping layers.
An armadillo's belly is covered with soft skin and hair, not scales. When an armadillo is cornered, it pulls all its legs under its body and sits close to the ground to protect its underside. Some armadillos can roll all the way up into a tight ball.
A newborn armadillo's skin is soft, pink, and leathery. It grows plates within a few weeks.
Getting around. Armadillos normally move slowly, but they can move quickly if chased. A person can't catch an armadillo over a short distance. Armadillos walk on their hind feet and the claws of their front feet. Even with its heavy plates, the 9-banded armadillo can swim across wide rivers. To do so, the armadillo fills its stomach and intestines with air, which helps it float. The armadillo swims across the river with just its nose sticking out of the water. Many animals, including coyotes, mountain lions, and people, like to eat armadillos. An armadillo runs for its burrow when an enemy chases it. Once inside, it braces itself against the walls of the burrow with its legs, making it almost impossible for a predator to pull it out. If the armadillo can't reach its burrow in time, it may dive into an old one or try to dig a new one quickly. As a last resort, it will tuck itself into its protective armor. Armadillos usually look for food at night when it's cool outside. Their excellent sense of smell helps them find all kinds of food, including insects, lizards, small rodents, fungi, and fallen fruits.
Armadillos can dig quickly with their sturdy legs and huge claws. They pile up dirt underneath themselves, pausing every once in a while to kick it away with their hind feet. Some armadillos can hold their breath for as long as 6 minutes while they are digging, which keeps them from breathing in dirt. Kinds of armadillos. Armadillos live all over Central and South America. The 9-banded armadillo can also be found in the southwestern and southeastern United States.
Hairy armadillos are the best diggers of all. They may dig a new burrow to sleep in every day. Some live in sandy areas where the digging is easy. Even in very dry areas, these armadillos can get all the water they need from their diet. Hairy armadillos often hunt in daylight.
The 9-banded armadillo is protected by 9 overlapping rows of plates on its back. It digs burrows on the banks of creeks and rivers, where it goes to rest, hide from enemies, and raise its young. The 9-banded armadillo usually gives birth to identical quadruplets, 4 babies at the same time, either all male or all female. The fairy armadillo is the smallest armadillo, measuring only 6 inches, 15 centimeters long. It has 2 sections of plates. One starts at its nose and ends suddenly at its rump, almost as if it were chopped off. Another section covers its rump.
Pangolins. With its sharp, pointy scales, the tail shown here looks a lot like the tail of a dragon. It actually belongs to a pangolin, a relative of the armadillo. Pangolins live in the grasslands and forests of Africa and Asia. Like armadillos, they eat insects and can roll into a ball for protection.
Many pangolins live in underground burrows, but some spend a lot of time in trees. Those that climb can hang from tree branches by their tails. A pangolin's tail is prehensile, or able to grip things. Anteaters. An anteater is just what it sounds like, an animal that eats ants. It also eats termites, using its long, thin, sticky tongue to lick them up. Several other animals, including echidnas and aardvarks, are sometimes called anteaters, but they're not related to the real thing. The best-known anteater is the giant anteater. It has a long, bushy tail that covers its body when it's sleeping. A young anteater travels on its mother's back for as long as 1 year after it's born. Do you see a baby anteater in this picture?
Tongue. An anteater's tongue is about 24 inches, 60 centimeters long, and is covered with sticky saliva. It is controlled by muscles attached to the anteater's breastbone, and it can flick in and out 150 times a minute. Tiny spines that point backward on the tongue help the anteater grab insects and pull them into its mouth. Claws. With large claws on its second and third toes, an anteater can easily rip holes in ant nests and termite mounds as it searches for food. The claws are so long that the animal walks on the sides of its front feet with its claws curled inward.
Anteaters also use their sharp claws to defend themselves, rearing up on their hind legs to slash at a predator with their forefeet. Locked between a giant anteater's front legs, a dog, a big cat, or even a larger enemy is powerless. Adult anteaters sometimes make noise when they are threatened. In the trees. All anteaters live in Central and South America, but they don't all live in the same habitat. The giant anteater lives entirely on the ground in grasslands and rainforests. The three smaller species of anteaters have prehensile tails, tails that can grasp things. These anteaters live in the trees.
Two species of anteaters are called tamanduas. These are the southern tamandua, lesser anteater, and the northern tamandua. These anteaters are nocturnal and use their sense of smell to find ants and termites in the dark. Like the pygmy anteater, they have a shorter snout than the giant anteater does. Tamanduas often sleep in hollow tree trunks during the day. They live in grasslands and in wet and dry forests. The pygmy, or silky anteater, lives only in tropical forests. It is the size of a squirrel and doesn't often come to the ground. It spends most of its time in silk cotton trees. The fruit of these trees, a mass of soft silky fibers, looks like the anteater's fur. Owls and other predators have a hard time seeing the pygmy anteater in these surroundings.
Termites. Termites are small insects that eat wood, paper, and other plant materials. Most of them live in warm parts of the world. Termites are sometimes called white ants, but they are more closely related to grasshoppers than to ants.
Social insects. Like ants and bees, termites are social insects. They live in large groups called colonies. Within the colony, there are several classes of termites. These classes are called castes. Members of each caste have specific jobs.
Soldier termites guard the nest and the workers.
Most members of termite colonies are workers. Workers gather food and raise the queen's young. Some take care of the queen, feeding her and keeping her clean. Workers also repair the nest and make it larger to hold the growing colony. Workers themselves cannot reproduce. Unlike worker ants, which are all female, worker termites are both male and female.
The main female, called the queen, spends her life laying eggs. There is usually only one queen per colony, and one king, her mate. The main female, called the queen, spends her life laying eggs. There is usually only one queen per colony, and one king, her mate.
New colonies. Every year, one group of eggs matures into male and female termites that can reproduce. All of this group have wings, and they leave the nest in a swarm. When they land, the new kings and queens tear off their wings. Then, a male crawls away with each female to look for a nesting site.
The useless wing muscles provide nourishment for the queen as they break down in her body. As the queen begins to lay the new colony's first eggs, her body swells to several times the size of the king's.
Termite mound. Many termites make small nests underground or in dead trees. A few kinds of termites build a mound that contains a termite city, a home for many millions of termites. In hot areas, the mounds have tunnels and ventilation holes, and may be more than 20 feet, 6 meters, high. The mounds are often occupied for more than 50 years, and the thick walls help keep out anteaters and other predators.
A cooling chimney lets air in and out of the termite mound. The queen and king termites live in a royal chamber deep inside the mound. The queen lays 20,000 or more eggs daily in this chamber. Termite larvae are kept and cared for in nursery chambers. Fungi grow on the termite's dung inside the termite mound. Termites feed on the fungi.
Food. Termites eat wood, paper, and other plant material that contains cellulose. Cellulose is a substance in plant cells that makes the cell wall stiff and hard. Many animals can't digest it, but tiny organisms that live inside a termite's body break down the cellulose into food that the termite can use. Because termites often chew and tunnel through the wood in people's homes, they are considered pests in many parts of the world. They can also destroy books, orchards, and other agricultural crops. Even wooden bridges and railroads can be destroyed by termites. In some tropical areas, people build railroads entirely of iron and steel to avoid termite damage.
Aardvarks. In the Afrikaans language of South Africa, aardvark means earth pig. An aardvark's long snout and large pointy ears have earned it this name.
Aardvarks have short legs with 4 toes in each front foot and 5 on each back foot. A thin coat of hair covers their bodies. Aardvarks rest in burrows during the day and come out at night to hunt. Few people have ever seen one in the wild.
Food. Few people have ever seen an aardvark feeding. At night, this animal noses along a zigzag trail, hunting for an ant or termite nest. When it finds one, it uses its sharp curved claws to tear apart the mound. Then, it uses its tongue to pull out ants and termites. An aardvark's round tongue is about 18 inches, 46 centimeters long. It is coated with sticky saliva. The aardvark picks up insects with its tongue and pulls them into its mouth. An aardvark has 20 teeth, but it doesn't use them to chew food. Its muscular stomach grinds food, much like a bird's gizzard does. One of a kind. Aardvarks have no relatives. People once thought they were closely related to anteaters and armadillos. Today, however, scientists think aardvarks descended from the same ancestor that elephants did.
Range and enemies. Aardvarks live in Africa, south of the Sahara Desert. People sometimes hunt aardvarks for food, but the aardvark's biggest enemy is the lion. An aardvark defends itself by rolling onto its back and fighting with the claws on all 4 of its feet.
Tornadoes. A tornado, sometimes called a whirlwind or a twister because of its twirling, funnel-shaped cloud, is a violent windstorm. Its winds can go 250 miles per hour, 400 kilometers an hour, or faster, and it destroys everything it touches. Tornadoes often travel 20 miles, 32 kilometers, but they have been known to travel as many as 200 miles, 320 kilometers. The base of a tornado is usually less than 0.6 miles, 1 kilometer wide. The making of a tornado. A tornado begins to build up when warm, moist air rises rapidly over land or sea. The air cools as it rises, and its moisture forms raindrops and thunderclouds. Strong winds develop as more warm air rushes in to replace the rising air. If the rushing air begins to rotate, a tornado forms. Rising air spirals up the column of wind, sucking up dirt and objects as heavy as trucks. The air pressure at the center of a tornado is very low. The pressure inside buildings on the ground, however, remains normal. When a tornado passes over a house, the sudden drop in outside pressure causes the house to explode like a balloon. Tornadoes usually spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, but clockwise in the southern hemisphere.
On land and at sea. Unlike hurricanes, most tornadoes occur inland. Hundreds touch down in the Midwestern United States every year. A waterspout is a tornado that sucks up water over a sea or lake. Tornadoes that suck up sand over the desert are called dust devils.
Ostriches. What's the largest bird? The ostrich. How high can it fly? About as high as you can. Ostriches can't fly at all, but they can outrun you and most other animals.
Grounded for life. Ostriches stand more than 8 feet, 2.5 meters high, and weigh as much as 345 pounds, 156 kilograms. These birds would need huge wings and muscles to lift their bodies into the air. Instead, ostriches have adapted well to life on the ground. They live on the African savanna and can even defend themselves against lions.
The long, soft feathers of the ostrich were once popular decorations for hats and clothes. Male ostriches have black and white feathers. Females have brown feathers. There are almost no feathers on the legs, neck, and head of an ostrich.
Ostriches have good eyesight. From their great height, they can spot enemies far away on the grassland. Their strong legs and large flexible feet are made for running, and they can escape quickly. If an ostrich is cornered or tired of running, it kicks with its powerful legs and the sharp nails on its 2 toes. It does not bury its head in the sand.
Female ostriches lay as many as 10 eggs in nests on the ground. Males usually sit on the eggs until they hatch, but females may help during the day. The little birds stay with their parents for 1 year or more.
Relatives. Ostriches are related to some birds you may not have heard of: emus, rheas, cassowaries, and kiwis. These birds have something in common. None of them can fly.
The cassowary is a shy bird that lives in the dense forests of Australia and Asia. It stands 5 feet, 1.5 meters tall, and has a large, bony, helmet-like crest on top of its head. This helmet protects the cassowary as it pushes its way through heavy brush. The cassowary's head and neck are bare and brightly colored in red, blue, and yellow. The female usually lays 5 bright green eggs.
Unlike its giant relatives, the kiwi is about the size of a chicken. It lives only in New Zealand, and it was named for its call. The kiwi uses the sharp nails on its 4 toes to defend itself and to scratch the ground. It is the only bird with nostrils at the end of its beak, where they help the kiwi sniff out worms and insects in the dark.
The emu is the second biggest bird on Earth. It stands nearly 6 feet, 2 meters tall, and weighs about 100 pounds, 45 kilograms. The emu lives in Australia. It eats seeds, leaves, fruit, stems, and insects. Like ostriches, emus can run quickly. They are also very good swimmers. The rhea lives in South America. It is often called the South American ostrich, but it is not a true ostrich. Rheas have 3 toes on each foot, but ostriches have only 2. The rhea also has feathers on its neck and head. The rhea is about 3 feet, 1 meter tall. A single nest may contain as many as 50 eggs.
Unlike its giant enormous eggs. Ostriches lay the largest eggs of any bird. An ostrich egg weighs 3 pounds, 1.4 kilograms, 30 times heavier than a chicken's egg.
Laying a 3-pound, 1.4 kilogram egg isn't such a big deal for a 300-pound, 140 kilogram ostrich. Consider the little kiwi, though. Its eggs weigh about 1 pound, 0.45 kilograms each. but the kiwi itself weighs only 6 pounds, 2.7 kilograms. If a kiwi were as big as an ostrich, its eggs would weigh about 50 pounds, 22.5 kilograms each.
Koalas. It looks like a teddy bear. It has round fuzzy ears, a big nose, and not much of a tail. It feels like a teddy bear. It has thick, soft fur. Many people even call it a bear, but a koala is actually not a bear at all. A koala is a tree-climbing animal from eastern Australia. It belongs to a group of mammals called marsupials.
A koala is a lot smaller than a bear. The biggest koala is only about 2.5 feet, 75 centimeters, long. A brown bear can be as tall as 10 feet, 3 meters. Both animals have sharp claws. Asleep in the trees. Have you ever seen a koala in a zoo? Was it asleep? A koala spends 18 hours a day sleeping, wedged in the crook of a eucalyptus tree. Koalas are most active at night when they climb to the tops of the trees to find food.
The koala's hands and feet are shaped for gripping branches tightly. Koalas do not let go even when they are asleep. The only time a koala comes down from a tree is to go to another tree.
Koalas do not get very much energy from their food. They probably sleep so much to save energy.
Food. Koalas eat only the leaves of certain kinds of eucalyptus trees. The leaves give the koala almost all the water it needs. The Australian Aborigines named this strange animal koala because it means no drink.
Some eucalyptus leaves have poisonous chemicals in them. Koalas can tell these from the other leaves and do not eat them unless there is nothing else to eat. If they do eat the poisonous leaves, they get sick.
Social life. Koalas are not very social animals. They live scattered throughout the trees and they make contact with other koalas only during breeding season. This is also about the only time koalas make a noise. On summer nights, males bellow in loud choruses to tell others where they are.
A female koala gives birth to one young koala a year. The newborn, like other marsupial young, is not well developed. It crawls blindly to its mother's pouch to find milk. A young koala stays in the pouch for the first 5 or 6 months of its life, until it is ready to eat leaves like its mother does. Then, the youngster rides on its mother's back. It can live on its own after about a year.
Survival then and now. People once hunted koalas for their thick, soft fur. By 1920, koalas were nearly extinct. Since then, it has been against the law to hunt them, and today they're filling up the eucalyptus forest once again. The map below shows where in Australia koalas live now.
Today, koalas are eating themselves out of house and home. There are more koalas than there are leaves to feed them. People in Australia are trying to figure out how to keep the animals from starving. One option is to try to move koalas into forests, where eucalyptus trees are mixed with others.
Eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus trees are the most important trees in the forests of Australia. You may have seen these trees in a zoo, since koalas live in them and eat their leaves.
Eucalyptus trees are often called gum trees because they contain a gum, a sticky liquid that protects wood from water damage and hungry bugs. The gum makes eucalyptus a good wood for building things like ships, telephone poles, railroads, and piers. Eucalyptus wood is also used to make furniture because it can be polished very well.
Eucalyptus leaves contain an oil that can be used in medicines and as a deodorant. Tannin, a substance used for tanning leather, dyeing fabric, and making some medicines, is found in the bark of eucalyptus trees.
Sunshine and rain. Eucalyptus trees grow best in warm areas that have separate wet and dry seasons. They are native to Australia and New Zealand, and they have been planted in many other warm areas, including California and Florida.
Eucalyptus trees are evergreen. Their leathery leaves grow with their edges toward the sun so that they don't lose too much water. The trees grow very quickly. The giant gum shown here is the third tallest kind of tree in the world, after the giant redwood and the Douglas fir. It has been known to grow nearly 330 feet, 100 meters, tall. The Blue Mountains near Sydney, Australia, get their name from their eucalyptus trees. The trees are cut down for timber, creating a haze of oil vapor in the air that makes the mountains look blue.
Kangaroos. What's this? A two-headed animal? Actually, it's two animals put together. A kangaroo is a marsupial, a mammal with a pouch. Marsupials carry their young in their pouches until the young can take care of themselves.
Kangaroos live in small groups on the grasslands of Australia and New Guinea. These areas are often dry, but kangaroos can go for long periods without drinking. Kangaroos mostly eat grasses and leaves. Like cows and sheep, they're ruminants. They chew their food twice, once before they swallow it, and again after they have partly digested it.
Body of a kangaroo. Boing, boing, boing. That's how you might describe a kangaroo jumping. Kangaroos seem to bound along as if they have springs in their legs. Actually, the noise they make is more like thump, thump, thump.
A kangaroo's tail is so strong that it acts as a fifth leg for the kangaroo to lean on. The tail also helps the kangaroo balance when it hops.
Kangaroos have powerful back legs that are good for jumping. A kangaroo can hop along at about 40 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour. Kangaroos have small front legs compared with their back legs. Kangaroos walk on all four legs when they are grazing or moving slowly. When they need to move fast, kangaroos hold their front legs up and hop, using only their back legs.
Reproduction. Like all marsupials, kangaroos are born before they are fully developed. At birth, kangaroos are extremely small. They are less than 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters long. A newborn kangaroo is still somehow able to crawl into its mother's pocket-like pouch with very little help from its mother.
A young kangaroo, or joey, feeds and grows in its mother's pouch for about 8 months. Even after the joey leaves the pouch, it returns from time to drink milk. Its mother may already have a newborn in her pouch by this time. In this case, she makes 2 kinds of milk, one for the newborn and one for the older joey.
A kangaroo usually gives birth to only one young kangaroo at a time. A female kangaroo may take care of up to 3 at a time, however. One in her pouch, one at foot, returning only to drink milk, and one waiting to be born. The birth of a young kangaroo is delayed if there is still one in the pouch. As soon as the older one leaves the pouch for good, the female will give birth again.
Kangaroo combat. A kangaroo that is cornered by wild dogs kicks at its attackers with its hind legs. Kangaroos also kick each other. The males of most species fight for mates by having wrestling matches. These matches seem to have rules, and they may even be divided into rounds, with rest periods in between. Still, the kangaroos may injure each other very badly.
Kinds of kangaroos. There are about 50 kinds of kangaroos. Compare the ones pictured here. You can see that kangaroos look pretty similar, but they come in many sizes. Smaller kangaroos are often called wallabies.
Tree kangaroo. Tree kangaroos can be found in the rainforest of Australia and New Guinea. Their front legs are more developed than most kangaroos. Their strong front legs also have curved claws to help them climb. A tree kangaroo jumps from branch to branch, sometimes covering more than 30 feet, 9 meters in one jump.
Nail-tail wallaby. The nail-tail wallaby has a tail with a horny tip that resembles a human fingernail. Nail-tail wallabies are also called organ grinders because their front legs move in circles when they hop. Gray kangaroo. The eastern gray kangaroo suffered when Europeans arrived in Australia. Millions of kangaroos were shot because they ate the grass that farmers grew to feed cattle and sheep. There are still a lot of kangaroos in Australia, however. In fact, there are more red and gray kangaroos than people.
Red kangaroo. The red kangaroo is one of the largest kangaroos. A male weighs up to 198 pounds, 90 kilograms, and can grow to more than 6 feet, 2 meters in height.
Musky rat kangaroo. The smallest kangaroo is the musky rat kangaroo. It may weigh as little as 1 pound, 0.5 kilograms. Musky rat kangaroos sometimes eat insects and worms as well as plants. Red-necked wallaby. Wallabies are smaller members of the kangaroo family. The red-necked wallaby, shown here, is nicknamed the brusher because it prefers brush to open countryside. Musky rat kangaroo. The smallest kangaroo is the musky rat kangaroo. It may weigh as little as 1 pound, 0.5 kilograms. Musky rat kangaroos sometimes eat insects and worms as well as plants. Redneck.
Hopping home. Can you help this kangaroo get to its mother? Click on him to get started.
A wallaby is a cross between a koala and a kangaroo. False. Wallaby. Kangaroos usually give birth to twins.
False. Kangaroos give birth to one joey at a time. Young male kangaroos are called joeys, and young female kangaroos are called janes.
False. A kangaroo chews like a cow. true. Both cattle and kangaroos are ruminants, or animals that digest their food part way, regurgitate it, then chew it and swallow it again. There are very few kangaroos left in Australia.
False. There are so many, in fact, that farmers still consider them pests. Grassland plants. Thousands of kinds of grasses grow in the world's grasslands. Some grasses are tall, and some are short. Some spread out all over the ground, and others grow in thick clumps. Most grassland grasses look very different from the grass in a yard. The common sagebrush often gives the dry grassland its smell. Common sagebrush grows as a shrub with fuzzy gray-green leaves. It is found in many areas and in large amounts. Mule deer and pronghorn feed on it, and many birds hide their nests under it. Kentucky bluegrass grows in most grasslands in North America. It can grow to be 3 feet, 1 meter tall. Kentucky is called the Bluegrass State, even though Kentucky bluegrass didn't originate there. Kentucky
Gamma grass grows in large clumps that can be 10 feet, 3 meters tall. It grows in wet areas and looks a lot like corn.
The grass plant. Most grasses that live in grasslands are perennials, or plants that live for many years. During a cold or dry season, almost all of the upper part of a perennial plant dies, leaving only the roots. When the weather gets better, the plant uses energy stored in its roots to quickly grow back and make seeds. Most of a grass's growth happens underground. The roots of the grass grow long and deep to reach water. The roots branch many times and attach firmly to the soil. This makes the grass plant very difficult to rip out of the ground completely. It also keeps the soil from washing away easily.
Grass stems grow straight up and they don't shade each other. In some kinds of grasses, the stems also creep sideways, sending more grass shoots up nearby.
Grass leaves are called blades. The blades are narrow, which prevents too much water from evaporating. Unlike the leaves of most plants, which grow only at the tops, grass leaves grow from the bottom, near the stem. For this reason, grass can be mowed, grazed, or burned, and it will grow right back.
Grass flowers are small and hard to see. They make the seeds that produce new grasses. Trees. Grasses are the most common plant in grasslands, but many types of trees and shrubs manage to creep in among them. Trees need special, usually wet surroundings to grow on a grassland. Often, several trees can be found together near a stream. The fruit of some trees provides food for grassland animals. The common juniper usually grows as a shrub or small tree. It's an evergreen and can live on rocky slopes and other places where most plants can't grow. Birds and other animals eat juniper berries. People use them to season food and flavor drinks.
Pussy willows grow as shrubs or small trees in wet areas of grasslands. In late winter and early spring, their large flower buds burst open. The flowers have soft, silky white hairs that resemble cat fur.
Apple trees grow best in wet areas where they can grow up to 40 feet, 12 meters tall. Flowers. In spring, summer, and fall, small flowers bloom in many grassland areas. The grasses are so thick that most wildflower seeds never take hold. Only flowers that live for several years as rootstock, root-like stems that grow under or along the ground, can squeeze through the grasses.
Eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus trees are the most
Sunshine and rain. Eucalyptus trees grow best in warm areas that have separate wet and dry seasons. They are native to Australia and New Zealand, and they have been planted in many other warm areas, including California and Florida. The Blue Mountains near Sydney, Australia, get their name from their eucalyptus trees. The trees are cut down for timber, creating a haze of oil vapor in the air that makes the mountains look blue. Eucalyptus trees are evergreens. Their leathery leaves grow with their edges toward the sun so that they don't lose too much water. The trees grow very quickly. The giant gum shown here is the third tallest kind of tree in the world, after the giant redwood and the Douglas fir. It has been known to grow nearly 330 feet, 100 meters, tall. Grassland plants. Thousands of kinds of grasses grow. The